Let's put up the Roadblocks artwork and get started then. We're on the last week of our series called Blox. And I learned, actually, after the first week, I didn't know that that's not how you spell blocks. I got, so many people told me, I was convinced that that's not how you spell blocks. Next time, I will spell it right. Just kidding. That's the Caleb way. That's pastor spelling, I guess. But in this series, we've been talking about the difficult way that leads to the narrow gate. The difficult way that leads to the narrow gate. And that's from Matthew 7, if you could pull that up for me. You can enter God's kingdom only through the narrow gate. The highway to hell is broad, and the gate is wide for the many who choose that way. But the gateway to life is very narrow, and the road is difficult, and only a few ever find it. So we've been talking about the difficult way that leads to the narrow gate for the last 3 weeks. And the one thing I want to do, I've been given this on the front end of this all week, or these last 2 weeks, and then today I'll do it again, is just that just because it's difficult doesn't mean it's impossible for you. Just because it's a hard thing doesn't mean that it's an impossible thing. In fact, I want you to know today that you can do it. That just because something seems hard doesn't mean it's impossible. And oftentimes, the right thing is the hard thing. Amen? Last night, Christine and I were having a deep discussion, and I said some dumb things. So surprise, you guys are all really surprised because some doesn't seem like a lot. It was, and so when Christina and I fight, it's all telepathic. So I'll say dumb things, she'll stop talking, and we'll start fighting. But nobody says a word. That's how it happens every time. And so after about 10 minutes of a fight, it all of a sudden dawned on me how dumb how dumb what I said was. Basically, she was expressing this concern about this thing in her life she was sad about. And I was like, bleh, all about me. And so I just totally turned the whole thing around on myself, and then it was weird. It was weird. But after a few minutes, I realized that that's what I had done. Now, I had a choice before me. I could take the easy way, which is to continue to fight and continue to wait till she submits or whatever, or I feel so bad that I just get out of the car, whatever. Or I could do the difficult thing and just be like, I'm so sorry. I just did this. And that's so hard because everything in you is no. But the right thing to do is just say, you know what, I'm so sorry. I just totally turned that thing. I made it all about myself, and I was wrong. I don't even feel like that. I don't know. I just get talking sometimes. And I don't mean it. So anybody, if you're married to a verbal processor, you need a lot of grace. Because I don't know what I think until I'm done saying it. And I'm like, nope, I don't think that. I said it, but I really don't think it. You know what I mean? And so those of you who deal with me ever understand that. Nope, I don't think that. That just came out. Sorry. Anyways. But the good news is you can do it. Just because it's difficult doesn't mean that it's impossible. And so week 1, the roadblock we covered was this idea of arrival. If you believe you're at a place, you'll never continue. So if you believe you're mature, you believe you're perfect, you believe you've got nowhere else to go, you'll never get further. But the good news is this, that no matter how far we've come, we still have further to go. You're like, that doesn't seem like good news. No, that's really good news, because no matter how good your marriage is or how bad your marriage is, God is willing to and wants to drive it even further, make it even better. No matter how much Bible you know, He wants to take it further. No matter how close your relationship is with God or how far you feel from God, God wants to bring you closer and deeper. So when we start saying you know what, I think I've arrived in any area of our life, God is like, but I have more for you. So that was our invitation from week 1. We talked about arrival. And what did we talk about week 2? Really? Highway 67. What? That was week. Oh my gosh, you guys. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We'll go right to week 3. You can listen to the podcast then. It's right online, cornerstonelakecountry.com. So this week, I want to talk about, this was for me kind of like peeling back layers. I was going to talk about one roadblock, but then it kind of like, the Lord was like, took like up and I saw it from a different angle, and then he took me up again and I saw it from a different angle, and he took me to another place. And so as I was like reading this, I was like, wow, this is all really related. And I think sometimes one of the things we don't really understand the interplay of and how big of a roadblock it can be in our life is envy. So today I want to talk about envy. And you guys don't look all that pumped about it. Are you guys pumped to be in church today? Yes. Notify your face. I'm pumped. I am. Let's open up to Acts 13, 44 to 45. We are going to be starting 3 weeks from today. We're going to start an 11-week series that we're going to be covering the life and the missionary journeys of Paul. And so you're like, really? In 11 weeks? Yes, we're going to cover all of it. Obviously not in great detail, but we're going to get the big picture of the life and missionary journeys of Paul, even unto like the death of Paul. That's how the story ends for Paul. But he's not really dead and not forever. He's alive still in Christ. And that'll be starting then. And one of the things we'll be covering is this thing that happens in Acts 13. So if you could pull up Acts 13 for me, Acts 13, 44 and 45. Paul's in a city, and he's gathering great crowds, Antioch, and he's preaching, and great crowds come up, and it says after just a week, the following week, almost the entire city turned out to hear them preach the word of the Lord. But when the Jews saw the crowds, they were jealous, so they slandered Paul and argued against whatever he said. See, when I looked at the Jews' dislike of this new Christian movement that was kind of a rising up out of the Jewish faith at the beginning of the church, the church, the Christian church, was founded inside of Judaism almost. It was like a sect of Judaism who believed that they had found the Messiah in Jesus, which is what we believe. And there were a lot of Jews that weren't that pumped about it because it was like a sect of Judaism they didn't agree with. And so generally my thought has been, as I think about the Jews that disagreed with this, that it was mostly like theological, that they were like, Jesus isn't the way, and they were really actually concerned, and they really cared about the people that were in their synagogues and that followed their teachings, that they were honestly concerned that you shouldn't follow Jesus because it's bad for you. But what we read here is in Antioch, the Jews that were like mad at Paul and Barnabas for preaching the gospel weren't mad mostly on theological grounds. They were mad because they were jealous of the fruit. And they started slandering Paul and arguing against Paul, not mostly because there theologically was differences, though I'm sure that was part of it. It says here that they were jealous, so they slandered, so they argued. Isn't that crazy? And so we kind of get started here today. I know that there's people in Christianity that we have disagreements with theologically, but I would hate to be caught in a position ever where I'm arguing because I'm jealous, where I'm slandering because I'm jealous. And so if I were to subtitle this message, I would subtitle it, Run in Your Lane. Run in your lane. I share this kind of often, and I want to keep this in front of us sort of all the time, just so we kind of understand like the context to our own theological convictions. We start over here with Jesus, who is, in my opinion, perfect theology. He embodies it. This is Jesus this is like an imaginary tree on an imaginary wall. This is Jesus. And then you have 12 guys coming off of Jesus, whose theology is very close to his. like very close enough to start the church. And I would say that then those 12, one kind of, gives Jesus up to be murdered, but he's replaced then. And then those 12 people start building a church and start building a church and start building a church. And we can even see the differences between Paul's letters and Peter's letters, some differences. Not like anything is contradictory between in the Bible, but there's differences in the things that they're excited about. There's differences in the things that they're teaching about, and we can. One of the strongest arguments I believe for that Paul wrote Hebrews is just the stuff that's in there is very much like something Paul would have written. So it's either I think Paul wrote it or somebody close to Paul wrote it, because it's very much like something in the thoughts and stuff that he would have, and that's an honest argument for that comes from the idea that it's it kind of teaches like Paul. And so then we have, something like 2,000 years of that sort of thing happening, where we have now a lot of denominations, and we have a lot of different people writing theology books, and we have a lot of different bents on all this stuff, and all of them Christian. You know what I mean? Not all of them. There's such things as cults, and there's incorrect ways of reading the Bible, and we have Mormons, and we have Jehovah's Witness, and we have those are not Christian. But we have all of these people who love Jesus, believe in Him, and they believe in the truth of the Bible. They believe in the Trinity. They believe in all the main tenets of our faith, the same. But they believe that the book of Revelation has already happened. Some do, and some believe that it's about to happen in the next 20 minutes or so, and some believe that it's going to happen the next 200 years, and some believe that it's all it's just kind of we're in the middle of it happening over a long stretch, and it's but they all love Jesus. We're all in the camp. You know what I mean? There's places and there's room for different understandings as we stay, and we can all continue to be Christian. But I think what happens is this envy starts to rise up when someone else is having the success that we wish that we had in an area, whether it's a large conference or even if it's just a new whatever. There's just something that we want that they have, and we start to argue based on jealousy. I have no problem with a good theological discussion. I love it. I would love to come to the table and talk to you from a place of purity, of loving the Bible and trying to understand better who God is. I want that discussion. What I don't want is the jealousy discussion, because it doesn't go anywhere. And it's full of slander and argument rather than good discussion. Does that make sense? So as a church, as a pastor, I've do you believe that we are saved by grace alone, through faith alone, in Christ? Yes? Okay, we are. That's I love you then. I am pulling for you as a Christian. That's it. That's it. And I don't want to ever make it more complicated than that. So we're on the same team. Does that make sense? Just nod if you're with me. Yes. Cool. I'm with me as well. And so that's kind of the upper level. We're going to move from the idea of churches being jealous towards churches and that whole thing. But I just really want us to always remember that we just love Christians. Don't forget that you love Christians. Just because they believe different things, don't forget you love them. Don't forget that just because they may not do their worship service how you would do your worship service, and they may not take up the offering quite the way you would take up the offering, or they might spend their money on things you wouldn't spend your money on. That doesn't mean that they're not Christians, and it doesn't mean you don't love them. We love them intensely because Christ loves them. There's only one sheep pen, right? There's just one. We're all together and we stand in it. And some of us look different, and that's actually a really good thing. One of the things I'd never want for our church, I said I was going to move on, but one of the things I never want for our church is I never want us to try to be the church that reaches every single person and does every single thing. It's one of our compass points. We believe in simple and effective over complex and comprehensive, meaning I don't believe that we're the church for every single person. And that takes like pressure off. And so if you're like, these are my people, welcome home. But if you're like, I have a people, like that's your family, and I'm really pumped that you're there because that's good for you. Does that make sense? And so, like, I never want to try to, because that's not me, that's not us. We're not the church for every single person everywhere. We're the church for who God would call to us. And so in being like true to ourselves and true to who God would have for us, I believe we're going to reach a group of people that no one else can reach. But there's other churches who are reaching people that we can't reach. We actually, in our differences, need each other. We need each other. So not only should we be like okay with other churches being in town, like, yeah, they're a Christian church and they're in town. We should be like rooting for them and praying for them, not like in competition, but like loving them. What can we do to see you be more successful? Because you're reaching people I can't reach. I just like imagine a city full of churches like that. I imagine like our church grabbing a hold of that. What can we do to serve the churches in this city to see like the message of Christ come forward? How cool is that? If we can just like lay down our like competition, like, well, and just like, I want to see all churches like thriving in this city. That's what I want. At the end of the day, I want like all the ships to rise. You know, like when the tide comes in, all the boats go up. That's what I want. I want to see Jesus preached. I want to see like more and more people coming to know him in this church and every other place. Rather than like, yeah, I know they're a Christian church, but you don't want to go to that church because their preacher preaches way too long, and I don't think he's deep enough. Like, stop. Who are you? You're not deep enough. I'm talking to myself. Just kidding. Not kidding. Go to James 3:16. Now we'll move on. I'll get off that soapbox. I'll get on a new one. For wherever there is jealousy and selfish ambition, say selfish ambition. There you will find disorder and evil of every kind. That's an intense thing for James to say. If there's jealousy and selfish ambition, every kind of evil is there. It's like a rallying banner for the cause of darkness. Jealousy, selfish ambition. They're like, that, I will go there. And just that's probably not what you want in your life. You know? Probably not as you're looking at your life. You know what? I need more disorder, and I need more of like every kind of evil. That's like, I don't know that, probably you don't say that in the morning. You're not like having your coffee, and you're like, you know what, things are going so good. I need a little more disorder. I just woke up on time today. The mail came exactly at 3 o'clock last night or yesterday. I'm just like, I love the order in my life right now. But I think I just need some disorder, and I need some evil of every kind. Not just some kinds, I need evil of every kind. But, so like, if we don't want that, like probably most of us don't want that, we have to like actively fight jealousy and selfish ambition in our lives. It's not passive. You can't passively fight jealousy and selfish ambition. Like I'm saying, like if you start even feeling a hint of jealousy, like all they ever do is go on dates. Why does my husband never take me on dates? I want that. That instantly right there, you just gotta like stop thinking. Turn your brain off. Get out of there. Like literally, like have no more thoughts. If that's what you're going to be thinking, just stop. Stare at a wall. Otherwise, you're sticking that flag in the ground saying, come on, every kind of evil, let's go. Then you start nitpicking. Then you start slapping it. You get all this like weird stuff starts happening in your marriage. You're like, where did this come from? Jealousy and selfish ambition. One of the two. So bad for us. It's so bad for us. It's so toxic. But like, it's that underlying cause. I remember when Christina was finding out that she had a gluten allergy. A wheat allergy. She has a wheat allergy. And we were like learning about that. She'd be like, oh, I don't feel good. And she would just kind of like be sick. And we're like, okay, just here, like take a Tums. Maybe that's a thing or like whatever. And we're kind of like treating symptoms and stuff. And I remember Scott went through this for a long time. He just could not figure out why he was sick all the time. And so he was like going through all sorts of different trying to figure out what is wrong. Why am I feeling sick all the time? The underlying cause was this, like they were eating bread. And it's like not something you always connect with, I feel sick all the time. I mean, like traditionally, like as they were learning about it, it was like a new thing. Now it's like everyone knows this and everyone has this. But like they were like, this was new. You like, didn't connect those two things. And I think sometimes this like jealousy is a little bit like the same, like the gluten intolerance thing. Is like, we just need to like call it what it is. Like let's like show it. This is a problem. This is what's causing your stuff. So like you've got all this like weird in your life. You're like, I don't know why I react this way. I don't know why I can't just get along with my spouse. I don't know why I can't get along with the people at work. I don't know why. Maybe just check your heart for jealousy. Because if that's in there, it's going to cause a lot of stuff. We're going to have a lot of issues. This is going to be like a stumbling block for you for a long time until you weed that thing out. It's not helpful. And it's like, it really is. It's like a rallying banner. Evil of every kind. Disorder, evil of every kind. I don't know what's worse, disorder or evil of every kind. Both bad. So I'm going to talk for a few minutes about some of the things that envy, jealousy causes in us that are worse. And so we're going to like start peeling back the layers, and we're going to start seeing where some of this stuff kind of comes from. Open up to Philippians 2:3. Don't be selfish. Turn to your neighbor and say, don't be selfish. I just think this. I think that like most of life gets way easier when we're not selfish. But it's so hard sometimes because you're like trained to be selfish. Like they want you to be selfish. Everybody that like has something to sell you wants you to be selfish. But life gets so much easier when we're not. Don't try to impress others. Be humble, thinking of others as better than yourself. One of the things that envy will do, it will like cause comparison to rise up in you in this like really sick way. One of the things that I fight this in, one of the areas that I fight this in is just I spend a lot of time listening and watching to sermons from other places. And this is just like one of those battles I'm always kind of like fighting. I'm always like looking at this, and like most days I'm fine, but some days I'm like, ugh. Mostly like when it's somebody in a warm weather climate. I'm like, I'm willing, Lord. Like, how nice is this? It could be like this year round. What are we doing here? Jeez. Anyways, and so one of the things I kind of like continually have to think about and continually go for is that this is not about me. Like, isn't that weird? I would like watch someone else teaching their church and leading it with power and with passion, the way God had designed them to lead. It just is awesome. And I'm just sitting here making that whole thing about me. Isn't that weird? And I know you probably don't do this, moms, as you look at other families on Facebook. I know probably you've never been like, what, their kids always look so perfect. I wish I had. It's not about you. Their family's about them, that family, you know what I mean? Like, just be like pumped for them. And know this, and here's the little secret, that like, you don't know how many other pictures they took to get that one to look that way. Like so many pictures to get it to look that way. And Photoshops and all this stuff. But it says thinking of others is better than yourself. Thinking of others is better than yourself. Or thinking of others is more important than you, is what one of the translations says. And I just think that's a really great way to approach life. One of the things the Lord has been like teaching me lately, especially as it's been important for me, is about just making friends. I wasn't always good at this. I think I'm better now. And one of the things Lord has like shown me is just to be really encouraging. People are like drawn to encouragement. Like really they are. So if you like are an encouraging person, you're going to have a lot of friends. Why? Because people like to be encouraged. But people see through flattery. Do you know what I mean? People see, if you just like lie to people, like not lie to people, just like not really be all that honest, like you are my favorite, you're the best at this, like nobody dresses better than you. Like this is like not that helpful. People are like, okay, what do you want? Like what are you selling? You know what I mean? But like if you like handle this like idea of like humility and like honestly thinking of others is better than yourself and this need to like just continually pump people up, it's important. And you'll have a ton of friends. But it comes from this place of like understanding that others are more important than you. And if everybody thinks that, we're going to have a really, really cool family. Yeah. We are. It's going to be a really fun place to be. Like when you come over to somebody's house, like for coffee, because you're going to meet with them this week, and you're going to share your story with them, and you walk in, and they're just like, you know what? I see you at church just like worshiping with all your heart. That really blesses me, and it pulls me further. It's stuff you think, just say it. Please. It will change the culture of your life, and it will change the culture of this church as we lift each other up, celebrating what everybody brings to the table. I'm pumped about that. That's what I want. Yeah. And as we're talking about comparison, we have to get past the like this whole who's further, who's better, who knows more, who's in charge, who's in front, that whole like weird thing. It's like, because if we're fighting for that and we see ourselves in this like race for first place or race for seventh place, or wherever you feel like, whether you like are having a good day or a bad day, wherever you're feeling you're at, like, it's like, then it makes it like hard for you to like admit you've made a mistake. I think Peter fell into this. In Galatians 2, 11 to 13, I got to cook, so I'm not going to go there. But Peter comes to know the truth about Jesus. He gets this vision from God, like everything is clean, do whatever you want, hang out with all the Gentiles. And then God sends a guy, and he says, this is not making sense as I'm telling this story at all. So Peter's hanging out in an upper room. He gets this vision. There's like a sheet that drops down, and it's all sorts of food. God says, eat it. Peter says, I can't. It's unclean. God says, you have to eat it. Don't call anything unclean, which I have called clean. So now this is like the revelation that this is why we can eat pork anytime. We can eat pork, right? So because of this. Bacon, what's up? But then Paul comes to this church in Antioch, and Peter comes as well, and Paul says, and Peter stops eating with the Galatians because he doesn't, with the Gentile, the non-Jewish believers, because all the Jewish believers are there. And Paul's like, that ain't right. And he called him out. And now Peter had a decision. He could do the hard thing or the right thing. Peter responded well. But like Peter could have come to this place and been like, no, this isn't wrong. Because he was like worried about being looked on as like behind Paul. Do you know what I mean? Like, so if there was like competition there, he could have like gotten all big and burly and like fought him, but he didn't have to. Because he was like willing to say, yeah, I was wrong. That's cool. And then Peter like continued to grow because of it. What you're doing as we like let comparison come in and like fighting and like just like this who's in first thing come in, that what we're doing is we're stopping ourselves from growing actually because we're not ready to admit the places we need to grow. Amen? Yeah. Amen. That's good. That's helpful for me. Maybe nobody else. Comparison is one. The second one is shortcuts. And I found some shortcuts about diets today. So maybe if you're like thinking about a diet, I have a diet for you if you're into taking shortcuts. I have 10 of them, and I'm going to cook through them here. Ready? The first one I learned about was the Twinkie diet. It's genius. No, seriously, it's genius. You eat 10 Twinkies a day. It's like 1,500 calories or whatever. But by like a few days in, you're like so sick of Twinkies that you just don't like, you eat like one or two. And you're like, ugh, but all you let yourself eat is Twinkies. It's the Twinkie diet. I read about the tapeworm diet. You like buy a tapeworm and then you like eat it. I read about the baby food diet. Like all you just eat baby food, only baby food. I read about the cigarette diet. So like rather than eating, every time you get hungry, you just like smoke a cigarette. You'll smell horrible. Because like I know that would be like 6 packs a day for a guy like me. Nasty. I think this is, I don't know how this says it, but it's maybe somebody knows more about this. Achilles diet soaps, AOQILI, diet soaps. So you eat soap instead of food. These are like legitimate diets I found. This is legitimate. Not, I guess they're illegitimate diets, but they're like real. The Sleeping Beauty diet, you're supposed to just literally sleep 24/7, just always sleep. That way you're not hungry and you can't eat because you're sleeping. The chewing diet, I guess this is in vogue in like the 70s, where you just like chew all of your food and then spit it out. Yeah, it is. It's nasty, Harley. The blue vision diet, so you get these glasses that are like tinted blue, and you like, and that way, like, because no food is naturally blue, there's no blue, like blueberries are purple, right? So there's like, there's no actual blue food, like it's not supposed to look appetizing, so you're like, it's supposed to like curb your hunger, but it can actually do like major damage as you like, because as you see blue all the time, it like changes the way you perceive colors. But this is it, the blue vision diet. Ear stapling, there's like, they can go in and they can like staple something in your ear that like messes with your appetite. And it works for like a couple weeks, I guess. And then the cotton ball diet, literally you just eat cotton balls. What is this? Like, people have literally come up with all of these things, these shortcuts in trying to lose weight. Personally, I wouldn't do any of these. None of them. Like, I guess the baby food diet is, like, less harmful, but, like, I don't know, man. That would be nasty. My suggestion is not to take shortcuts. Genesis 16, 1 through 16, and I'm gonna boogie here. Genesis 16, 1 through 16 tells the story of Abraham and Sarai at the time, and God had promised them a son. An heir. He was going to be like the father of many nations, but rather than like wait on God's timing and wait for God to do it, they decided that Abraham should just sleep with Hagar to make a baby for Sarai. It turned out really, really horrible. Like really bad. Like Sarai ended up hating Hagar. They like cast them out. And they like sent them to the wilderness. And Ishmael and in Israel have really never gotten along since. They took the shortcut. God had a plan for them, but what they did is they took a shortcut, and it turned out really, really bad because God had a better plan for them. One of the things envy will do in us is it will cause us to take shortcuts. It will cause us to try to appear further along than we actually are. So they have all these like diets here, and some of them you will like lose weight very quickly, but it won't be long term and it's not sustainable. You can't eat cotton balls for the rest of your life. So as soon as you get off the cotton ball diet, you start eating your normal food again, you gain the weight right back. See, shortcuts always give us a tree that's too big for its roots. Every time when we try to take a shortcut, especially in our faith, it gives us a tree that's too big for its roots. So with your marriage, one of the shortcuts I'm often tempted to take is to just like ignore it. It's not actually a problem. It's not a big deal. We don't have to deal with it. We'll just kind of like, no problem is good. But it's not long before you can't fit anything else under the rug. And now all of a sudden your marriage looks way better than it is because you still got a lot of issues it's time to deal with. The tree is too big for the roots. Our faith can get that way. Especially when we're like trying to be somebody else. We like see somebody that's further along. We see somebody who is who we want to be, and we try to emulate that, and we try to like become that. And now all of a sudden we're standing in this place where our tree is way bigger than our roots. I want to be the opposite of that in my life. I want to always have roots that are way deeper than the tree looks. Jesus he was talking about this. He called it being a whitewashed tomb. He was talking to the Pharisees. He's like, you guys are just whitewashed tombs. You have the outward exactly perfect. You guys have copied the outward correctly, but you have missed the inside completely. So inside, you're just like a rotting flesh. Outside, you look awesome. Inside, rotting, gross, smelly flesh. Sick. But that's what comparison will do for us. That's what envy will do for us, is we try to become somebody else. We try to get what somebody else has. Sick. Okay. Another thing envy will do for us is it will cause us, in our shortcut taking, to believe that the rules don't apply to us. And this is dangerous. If you want to have a vibrant relationship with God, there's one way to that. It's through Jesus and through spending time with Him. It's having a confident, consistent, private life in God. That's how you have like a history in God. There's no shortcut to that. It's the same thing if you're like trying to get married. You're like, I want to get married. There's like no substitute for like building a marriage. There's no substitute for like building a relationship other than building the relationship. But when we get like filled with envy, we're like, whatever, I'll do whatever. This is what, remember for week 1, we talked about arrival. We talked about how Saul had felt like he'd arrived, so he didn't need anybody else. This is kind of that, like the other side of that coin, where Saul is looking at this sacrifice that has to be made, and he's like, well, I know only the prophet should do this, but all sorts of reasons, so I will just do it. He just could believe the rules didn't apply to him. So if you like want a better relationship with God, the rules apply to you. There's one way to it. And the ends, like, never justify the means. Not in Christianity. Like, we never the wrong thing is never the right thing to do. Does that make sense? The wrong thing is never the right thing to do. But we start to think the wrong thing might be the right thing to do when we're worried about like getting somewhere else, being something different, because we see somebody else's gift that we would rather have. We'd rather it be us. This is why celebrities are super annoying, because the rules don't apply, right? How many times do you hear like, oh, they got acquitted. They should have been in jail for years. They got like 24 hours of community service. You're like, this is insane. But I think some of us approach our Christianity like celebrities. Like, nope, it doesn't matter what the consequence is. I'll be fine. I'm kind of above it. The rules don't apply to me. But they do. Every single time they do. And I don't want that to be like super heavy for you. Let that be freeing for you. Like, you don't have to skip steps. You don't have to be more mature than you are. I mean, it takes we've got some trees in our yard that are massive, and it took a long time for them to get that way. It just happened. Maturity takes time, and that's awesome. That's fine. The last thing envy does in us that's scary that I listed today, it does way more than this. These are the ones I wanted to highlight as kind of the secret, like hidden stuff, the stuff we don't often like connect to envy. It'll cause us to live a double life. And if there's anything I can like caution you for in your life, is being two people. Just be yourself. Always be one person. And that's the goal of my life. So when I'm here teaching you, standing here, I'm the exact same. So I say stupid things. I say stuff I don't always mean. I trip over my word. I just am always myself. But I live with the same passion. I live by the same principles. Like, so if you sit down with coffee, you'll get the same guy. If we sit down at coffee, you'll get the same guy. I'm just me. And I can't tell you how awesome that is, because I wasn't always just me. I had a church me. I had a prayer. I actually had, my little brother used to make fun of me because I had like a voice I'd use specifically for praying. It was like my holy prayer voice. Some of you are laughing and some of you are like nervous because that might be you. It's okay, you can be free. It was like this. It was like, dear God, would you just open our hearts? It was like that sort of a thing. I had a weird prayer voice. Anyways, there was like guy that was at the bars me. There was like guy playing video games. There was like family me. There was like friends me. There was like sports team me. And it was all these different people and personas because I was letting other people decide who I would be. And I wasn't just me. And the good news is, like, I don't have to worry about that anymore because sometimes those worlds collide. Like having a Bible study at a coffee shop and your friend who you're out at the bar with last night rolls in, you're like, hey, like try to hide the Bible, but not like really hide it. Just to like, you know what I mean? Like how terrible. Open up that James verse 1, 5 through 8 here. James 1, 5 through 8. If you need wisdom, ask our generous God, and he will give it to you. He will not rebuke you for asking. But when you ask him, be sure your faith is in God alone. Do not waver, for a person with divided loyalty is unsettled as a wave of the sea that is blown and tossed by the wind. Such people should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. In verse 8, their loyalty is divided between God and the world, and they're unstable in everything they do. Can you just open verse 8 in the New King James? It should be the next thing down. Just verse 8. They are unstable in everything they do. And in verse 8 in the New King James, it says he's double-minded man, unstable in all of his ways. The word confusion just means like conflicted. It just means like you're not in agreement with yourself. And that's what this is talking about, being double-minded, being unstable. When there's like this division in you, literally nothing feels right. There never is a place that feels like home. So we're trying to draw life from all these other places. And envy will have you doing that. So you go into your job environment, you're envious of your boss. You're like, okay, I got to see him, I got to be him. You come to a church environment, you see like the coolest person in church. You're like, I got to be that guy, or whatever. You watch TV, you got to be that guy. You start to like draw your life and try to, like all these other places, you want to be that thing. You want to be that life. You want to have that. And so today I want to offer you a better way. I want to offer you a higher way. I want to offer you a way that's free from everything. I literally am never worried about running into anyone. In fact, I hope I run into everyone. I have nothing to hide. I have nothing to be like weird about. I don't know who's going to be where. I don't have to worry about it. And that's so freeing because it wasn't always like that for me. And I hope that maybe if you're in that place, this will be something that you can get through. Open up to Colossians 3:4, and I want to give you this key for your life that will open up this door for you forever. It says, when Christ, who is your life? So my question today is, who is your life? Yeah. Who is your life? Because it says Christ is our life. So I don't need to walk into another place and see another preacher and be like, I need that life. Christ is my life. See how freeing this is? We just get to be one person. Our soul, our body, our spirit, our mind, all together, one person. Christ is our life. So when we see somebody else, we don't have to get like intimidated, like I need to be like that, or they're like further along than me, or there's this competition just can end because like I have just to be like Jesus. And at the end of the day, he made you on purpose like you. He's really good at it. He made everything actually. And he had like a dream in his heart called you. And he gave you gifts and talents. And last week we talked about in our roadblock called ownership, that's the hint. We talked about how everything we have is a gift from God. And so like, why are you boasting like you didn't receive that, like you've always had that? Like, everything you have is a gift from God for you. And it's amazing. It's good. God has given you good gifts. He's given you like a good calling. He's given you a good place. He likes you. He wants you to be the best you can be. And we're going to sell short our destiny in a major way when we try to be somebody else. Because you're not called to be somebody else. You're called to be you. Run in your lane. We don't need a lot of people around here like me. One is more than enough. We need more of you. So I don't want a bunch of wannabes, somebody else's. I want a bunch of really honest, I am me. This is who I am. Because I think we'll be better together. We don't just need a lot of one person. We need a lot of people. And I think that's going to be really cool. Because there's people, just like we said, this church is going to reach people that other churches will never reach. And that other churches are going to reach people. There's going to be people in your life you reach that would never listen to me. There's going to be people in my life that would never listen to you. And if if I'm always trying to be you, I'm going to miss not only the people that I should be reaching, or could be reaching, could be acting like Jesus towards. I'm going to miss that, but I'm also going to miss the people that you're reaching because I'm going to do nothing. I'm just going to miss the mark. Dang. But you could be you. Does that make sense? So this whole idea of envy is really sad. This really tears people apart. And it'll have our lives chasing our tails. But if Christ is our life, we don't have to worry about it. So I'm just going to follow him. Just wherever he goes, that's where I'll go. Whatever he says, I'll say that thing. I want to just follow Jesus with everything I have. Because if I'm following Jesus with everything I have, I know my destiny is coming forth. I know that I'm going to be, I don't have to worry about being somebody else, saying other things. I just get to be free from all of that junk. I just get to live for God and get to be me. That's awesome. I'm pumped about that because Christ is our life. Would you stand with me? God, you're the Alpha and the Omega. God, you're the beginning and the end. You've seen all things from the beginning. And you know my heart. And you know all our hearts here, God. Lord, I pray for grace to see ourselves as you see us. That we wouldn't need to look to somebody else for acceptance, somebody else for validation. But we get to look to you and know that everything we need, we have in you. Everything we need, we have in you. And Lord, I pray for grace to trust you. To trust that your plan is better for us than our plan. Amen.